Welcome to Festival Forum. My name is Lamar. I'm here with the cast and crew of Honeyglue. Welcome, guys. Whoop, whoop. Please introduce yourselves and your position on the film.
Sure. I am Adriana Mather, and I was the lead actress and the producer.
I'm James Bird, and I was the writer and director.
And I'm Anya Remizo. I was a composer and producer.
So first things first, you guys are here at the Newport Beach Film Festival. You've been down here for a few days. Congratulations on selling out 2 showings of Honeyglue.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about what you guys like most about Newport Beach.
Actually, I think maybe what we like most is the community. We've been greeted very well, and there are so many people who work for this festival and so many people who volunteer, and everyone's been super nice to us and very supportive, from the people who work at the ticket booth to the programmers, and like everyone is just really, really nice, and it's really awesome. We've been to a lot of film festivals with our films, and it's cool when someone greets you nicely, you know, and you feel like you're part of something great happening. That we really like that.
I actually have a really cool story about Newport.
Please.
I haven't been here in maybe 15 years. The last time I was here, I was a stock boy working in Fashion Island at Victoria's Secret. And
Not a bad job.
yeah, so this was a very cool way to be welcomed back. Because I remember when I worked here during the Newport Beach Film Festival, I never went to it. I wasn't even in the industry, and I remember trying to park, going, God, there's this film festival, you know, taking up all the space. And it was I worked at South Coast Plaza and Fashion Island and Crystal Court, and the festival had all that. So I remember thinking, like, one day I'll be there at the film festival, and
here you are, full circle.
Yeah, here I am now.
That's great.
Well, I think Anya really nailed it. It's the community. It's who you get to be with. There's something really nice about getting to interact with all of these people making things that they love, because so often in this industry you don't get to see all the people that really, really cared about the project. And everyone's been so sweet and so supportive, and yeah, we were really excited to show our film here, especially since our actors got to see it and our crew got to see it, and so that was a really nice world premiere for us.
That's great. Now, speaking of the project, tell me a little bit about the genesis of the project. If people don't know, what is the film about, Honeyglue?
I'll say what it's about, and then I'll let him talk about how it started, since he's the writer. Well, first and foremost, it's a love story. And in that love story is an adventure. It's really about how do you live your life to the fullest, and how do you spend the last 3 months of your life appreciating every moment? How long do you get to live? How much do you get to love? And what does that mean? So this film really weaves in a bit of magic into the everyday so that we can appreciate all the things that we have. It's about happiness, really.
So what was the genesis, James, of writing this story?
Well, the film that we did right before this is Eat Spirit Eat, and that's a comedy. And during the 10th day of filming, Anya's father passed away from cancer.
Sorry.
And we were, knee deep in making this comedy. So we I personally couldn't really face or approach what happened. So we decided to, finish the film, and after the film, that's when it hit me, and that's when everything, sunk in, and that's what started. I started doing all this research, and as a way to understand it more, or a coping mechanism of how it happened and how fast and quick it came. I wrote it in a story form, as a way to cope. And the story started manifesting into this love story, dealing with cancer, and that's how it took full. By the end, it was a screenplay. And
so, but speaking of story, let's talk about when you were younger and you really fell in love with storytelling when you discovered your roots.
Yeah. Well, I grew up homeless with my mother. I never met my dad and my brother and sister in a car. And so I never had a book before. I never, had the opportunity to, never had a TV. So I never got to watch movies or anything. So my mom would tell these stories to go to bed. And after a while, the stories, you can only make up so many stories. So she would kind of regurgitate the same story over and over again, but changing the details, changing the names, changing the setting, changing, what happens at the end. So I think that really started playing in my head about there's so many ways to tell a story. Because, if you take every movie ever made, basically,
it's all on Shakespeare, or some sort of hero's journey.
Yeah, it's a hero's journey. Yeah. It's all about connecting with someone else. It's all about love when it boils down to it. And my mom figured that out. And so in the backseat, hearing all these stories, I started to really love the million different ways of how to tell a story.
Right.
So
great. So Anya, tell me about your approach about composing the music. I know each film has a tone to it. So what was your approach for this film?
Well, for this particular film, so Honeyglue is obviously a very dramatic story, and we were trying to, when you express what it is about, it seems like very sad, but we were actually trying to go for a happier side of it. Like, you get 3 months that you can do anything you want, and you can be happy or you can choose to be sad. And just, relating to it from, my father's death, I know that when he got the diagnosis, he spent his last months in a hospital, and I'm sure that he would have wanted to maybe live it differently, had he known what was to come, So, Morgan knows what the lead character, what's to come. So she, going through struggles, chooses to live her life and be happy. So the music needed to reflect that, and we have a lot of mysterious and fantastical elements in the story, like her love interest is making a children's book with a story that parallels the main love story of the story, and it's a love story between a dragon bee and a dragonfly and a bee. So that part is animated in the film, and it's a really big part of the film, and it kind of serves as like a getaway from the main plot a little bit to make people feel happy when they watch it. And that's like the main part of the music in the film. That's like the most important musical pieces. And sorry, this is like a winding.
No, that's okay. Because the reason why I ask is when I listen to the music of Honeyglue, there's a eerie juxtaposition of what the reality is to what the music is being played. So it's happy, but it's sad at the same time. And that's a very interesting approach, instead of just throwing it in your face saying, hey, this is this is sad and you must feel sad and I'm going to put in sad music instead of...
Well, obviously what we're making is a drama, but we don't want to hit people with that, you know what I mean? And besides, my personal belief is there's no death. And that's the end quote of our film. There's no death, there's just only change the world. So we wanted to show it like there is something else. There's not just this tragic thing, there's actually this dreamy thing, this other place that you can be. And that's why there's, at the end of the movie, there's a dragonfly and a bee flying away, because we were trying to show it's, there's a transition, there's there's other story. And so that's why the music is dreamy, and I'm using a lot of string sounds, and piano. That's why it sounds that way,
Now, your approach to the character, it's got to take a toll on an actress when she has to really get into the character and you really truly have to believe what's happening to you. After the film was finished, first talk about a little bit about the approach, but talk about the sense of relief. I mean, do you step out of the character, or is that character that James wrote part of you for the rest of your life? I mean, do you keep that with you?
That's an interesting question. There's more than one answer to this, I would say. First, the the preparation was definitely difficult. I had to watch a lot of videos about people going through terminal illness because I had a speech impediment and I had seizures and I did all kinds of things that are true to people that are going through this.
Sure.
And that's one of the things that we did want reality in when we made this film was we wanted to make a hopeful, beautiful story, but we didn't want to take away from what real people deal with. And so that didn't need to be sad, but I did want to shave my head, and I did want to wear makeup that was going to ultimately make me look very sick, which was funny because the male lead was so pretty, and so I would stand next to him and we both had shaved heads and I'd have all this cancer makeup on and go, why does he look so much better than I do? That's not fair. No, but so there was some reality. Oh, that's fine.
Dropping water.
Just throwing things. So there was that. But what did stick with me was that I couldn't divorce the role when I went out into real life. And the reason that I couldn't is because my head was shaved. So people treated me as though I was ill. And it really...
Differently. Mm-hmm. So you go into a local Starbucks and they're like,
yeah,
here you go, here's your ventilator.
People spoke...
How are you today?
Yeah,
people touched me. They spoke slower. People would look at me when they thought I wasn't looking at them. And it really made me conscious of what it must be like to go out into the world after you've done something like chemo and have people make it that much more obvious to you. And even though people were being kind, it was obvious to me that I wasn't just blending. I was sticking out to them in some way. So there was really no divorcing the situation for me.
I mean that same feeling could transfer. I mean, you could have wrote this about someone being overweight or someone being anorexic or some other mental issue. I mean, it's not just cancer. I mean, it could. You know.
Well, if you look at the characters, so Jordan is a cross-dresser, and we don't ever really address in the film, oh, he's a cross-dresser. The film isn't about being a cross-dresser, and it's not about having cancer. But these are people who step into the world and deal with various forms of judgment or kindness or whatever that reflects what people are thinking about them. And so the reason that we made a story with these characters, but it's not about that, is because our company, more than anything, supports diversity. That is something that's incredibly important to us. So our crews are diverse, our cast is diverse, and we really believe that that people need stories about people, not about the perfect middle-class, white, straight, so on and so forth. That everyone needs to be represented. We live in a global community, and these are the stories that should be told.
And you tell it through a video diary as well, you know. I've seen a couple films that dealt with cancer and using cameras before. My Life with Michael Keaton, or even In the Eyes of Scott Robbins. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see that. But I've seen all three films, and I got to tell you, Honeyglue really, really hit home. Way better than My Life, way better than The Eyes of Scott Robbins. Sorry, guys. But if you guys haven't had a chance, I mean, it's happy, it's sad, and it's inspirational at points.
Thank you.
What are the challenges, if people don't know that you guys have a partnership and it's Zombot in Santa Monica, and what are the challenges of raising financing? I mean, how do you guys approach that as an independent? You can't go to the studios. What made you guys decide, you know what, we're going to start our own company and just go out, and what kind of creative freedom do you get when you do that?
I'll take it.
All right.
Wow,
Well,
I just like to spread.
yeah.
Well, I mean, we decided to do our own things because we realized that the views that we hold don't often, you know, how do you say it? Like, the major studio films don't really talk about things that we want to talk about, and I know we're probably the minority in thinking that we want to do our own stuff and we want to continue doing our own stuff. We're not making these films because we want a studio job. You know, that's not the reason why we're making what we're making. And I guess the way we approach it is, everyone always asks about like the budget for indie films because that's like a big deal to people. People think that that's the main obstacle somehow, but it's not. At least from our perspective, raising money, we just smile a lot and we tell people the story that we're going to tell, and they believe in us. Apparently, I guess maybe we're good pitchers. I don't know, but I think actually the main obstacle is not the financing, but how you use that money wisely to build sets, to bring talent and like both crew and the cast. Like how do you attract them and how do you make them work really hard? And that goes like we feed our people really good food. We fed everyone organic on set of Honeyglue. And you'd think, oh, not a big deal, but it actually is, because people still remember that. Jessica Taki yesterday, who plays Janet, came up to us and like, yeah, the food on your set, that was good. Like people still remember that. It makes them work harder, and it makes them feel like they're appreciated, and therefore, they're all the happier to work on your film. And like once you win over the people, all of a sudden you have something really good in your hands because everyone's trying their hardest, So like I think the biggest challenge is actually winning over the people, and like allocating your very scarce resources wisely. That's, I think, the challenge.
But you guys get more creative freedom. I mean, we've all worked on studio gigs before, and with the camera technology nowadays, it's a lot easier. Everyone can be a filmmaker, and that may be a good thing, and then sometimes it's a bad thing because everyone can be a filmmaker. What do you find in the future of film, in the future of Zombot? Do you guys find that you're going to continue this creative collaboration, this creative freedom with the company that you're trying to build?
Yeah, I think when it boils down to it, everyone wants to see real stories. Everyone wants something that reflects their life or reflects America, and I think the only thing making it to the theaters on a national stand is the studio movies, and the studio movies don't reflect America. New York isn't collapsing by a giant monster. People want to see real things. I think independent films give that, but independent films a lot of the time come with that stigma of, it's depressing. I don't want to see a depressing, slow-moving movie. And so I think our company, we rein each other in. Like, I have 100% creative control, but my ideas might be a little nuts, So then they'll come in logically and be like, all right, so let's, find a way to make it a cohesive story that doesn't involve, everyone flying around or whatever. But
and metal suits.
Yeah, and metal suits. Yeah. But yeah, in the end, I think independent films are gonna, the more the studios stay the same as they are, I think the more people jumping towards independent films and with that creative freedom growing, everyone's going to start turning toward independent films. I know people have been saying that for such a long time, but at this festival, I saw a great independent film, Welcome to Happiness,
which we had him on this set.
Yeah, and I loved that film, and I would take that over a studio movie any day. And I think so as long as there's festivals like this that actually recognize storytelling and not look at, what huge star is going to bring in this much money to, the box office, I think the stories are there and people are finally starting to turn their heads towards it.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, I watched and read The Color Purple a number of times, and sort of one of the end messages of that story is that everything just wants to be noticed and that everything wants to be loved. And I think that is a really nice way to tie in what Anya said and what James said, that between our story messages and our crew and everything else, everybody just wants to be appreciated and acknowledged for what it is that they've done, what it is that they've contributed. And that's the same thing for seeing stories that you can recognize on the big screen. Like, I understand that struggle. I get what that person's going through.
Sure.
I like to see myself up there in some aspect, even if that person's different than me. I want to see something that I can relate to. And so we try to tell stories, and we hire people. We have the most amazing crew. By the way, I just have to say, we have the most amazing crew. We could not be luckier. And all of those people really make a difference. So if we can do anything, it would be to continue to work with people that love what they do, and to continue to tell stories that are important and need to be told, and to just make the world a better place little bit by little bit, right?
Well said. Well, with that said, let's roll to a clip of Honeyglue.
Hello, my name is Morgan, and this is my true lover, Jordan.
Don't you get lonely up here?
I'm not lonely right now.
I have to go.
Run, baby, run.
I'm falling apart.
Till it all
We're
goes
all falling apart, Morgan. I want to live with you. I want to look like you. Everything.
This is our digital love letter to each other and our farewell video to our family.
You can see that this story is about love. Is there any final thoughts that you guys have?
Sure. We want to thank you for your time, obviously.
Thank you.
And we also want to thank Newport for, obviously, for inviting us, but also for premiering a lot of films, because this is important. Not a lot of festivals premiere films, and this is a big deal. You know, you want to get your film out to the world, and you want to get it out to the audiences that love and appreciate the art of filmmaking. And Newport is doing a great job at doing that. So we're just really thankful for having our premiere here. We really wanted to say that. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank you for having us. And our film is going to be in Cannes in May.
Yes, we saw that.
The
Congratulations.
AFI Peace Initiative and Big Island. So if you're in France or Hawaii, come say hello to us.
Yes, thank you again. And also, you can follow us at Zombot Pictures on all the interwebs,
Yay,
all the
Zombot.
tubes and so on.
Zombie/robot.
Yeah, half zombie, half robot, which is basically us shamelessly quoting ourselves from our other film. But also, just wanted to say that if, in the spirit of our film and our company and what this all represents, go out in the world and tell somebody you love them.
Love. That's what it's all about.
We love you.
This is what you missed today at the Newport Beach Film Festival.
We're here with star Ed Asner from the film Pacific Edge. Ed, how you doing today?
Good. I'm down in this lush place.
Well, tell me a little bit about that. What's it like being down here in beautiful Newport Beach?
Well, I'll have to go home eventually.
You don't have to. You don't have to do anything except.
You keeping me?
I'll be happy to keep you, Ed.
Oh, well, that's not. Is there any chance you can change sex while you're doing that?
Well, you're not the first person to ask me that. But I'd be willing to do it for you, Ed.
Repeatedly be asking you that if you're keeping me.
So tell me, Ed, how did you get involved with this film?
I didn't do anything about it. Maggie Grant, she submitted the film, and by God, we're nominated. So I would leap at the chance to be here and just be a nominee. It's just wonderful to just be nominated.
Well, it's quite well deserved, Ed. Tell us a little bit about
I
you.
don't want to win. Why would I? I don't care about that. Just being nominated. Are you going to vote?
Of course I'm going to vote.
Okay. What are you going to vote for?
For you, of course. Okay. See, he's happy now.
Please continue with your interview.
Okay. All right. I have your permission now. Tell me a little bit about your character in the film.
Well, he's a very, very loving. I can't tell you too much about it because it's a discovery film. I discover certain things, and you in the audience definitely will discover certain things. Well, for instance, I didn't have a sex change.
You didn't?
No.
What stopped you?
I was having too much fun.
That's the answer I give every time, too. Well, you
get old.
Oh yes, I know. I'm well aware of it now these days. So tell me, you were about to say the character's a very lovely person. I'm guessing that's very autobiographical then, right?
No, not really. It is a story about great love and great dedication. It's an inspiring story. And we should all be as honest as I am in the film. I've always heard of Newport. I admired it from afar. I couldn't wait to get down here and see the vaunted beauty of Newport and the richness and the lushness. I hear that the ocean itself is thought to be holy water, so I want to take a dip in it, if I'm allowed, that is. I can't wait to dip into the holy water of Newport. I'm Ted Knight, and you're watching Newport Beach Television.
Hi guys, my name is Abby Fernandez. This is the 2015 Newport Beach Film Festival. We're super thrilled to be talking to the cast and crew of a couple of premieres going on tonight at the red carpet here. One of them is Hero, Traitor, Patriot, and another is Strange. Guys, you gotta stick around. You're gonna wanna watch this. We're here with Ian Bailey, the producer, director, and actor of the film Hero, Traitor, and Patriot. Tell us, what was it like filming this movie?
Well, like most films, it had plenty of challenges in making it happen. Okay. Because there's not, this is not the kind of thing. This is something you do for love. Okay. Something I did for love and involved my wife with, and it was a family affair. So it's not a studio picture where you have everything at your fingertips to do it in any way you want. This is like you got to get down in it. And get, like literally like editing on our dining room table afterward, and making every phone call that needed to be made to whomever to ask whatever favor. And it's all the more satisfying actually for that.
Okay.
That's the thing about independent cinema.
Okay.
That is so much fun. And it was my first time co-directing.
Okay.
I did it with my wife. And
oh my gosh, how was that?
Yeah, well, we're still together.
So you're here. It's premiering at the Newport Beach Film Festival. What are your emotions behind that?
Well, I've always known of the Newport Film Festival,
Okay.
never had something here, and I'm excited to be here for this because I've actually had friends each of the last couple of years have their movies here and have really good experiences. And so I'm always hearing about it and just haven't been yet.
So you got to tell me, Ian, a couple of things that you love about the city Newport Beach.
The wedge. Oh, and the wedge.
Okay.
I love body surfing, and it's an amazing, that's the only time I've actually been here before. It's like I have to go to the wedge at some point. And this time, I'm going to add a few more things to that list.
You got to do it. Then we'll catch up with you.
Yeah.
We're here with the talented Simon Quarterman. You're the lead in the movie is Strange. Tell us about your role.
Well, I'm one of the leads.
One of the
leads in the movie. Yeah, I play Callum, who's a boyfriend, who's of January, who's thrust into this very awkward world of this very odd family. And he's just trying to make his way through the best he can. I'm thrilled to be here, and this project means a lot to me as it's a group of very close friends, and this is something we've, it's taken a long time for us to get to this point, and so the premiere of it tonight is a great experience for all of us. And it's a real wonderful feeling to be here, and it's such a great place, and I'm really excited to see it.
So you're also from England, right?
I am, yes.
What do you think about Newport Beach? I gotta ask you.
I love it. But I actually live in LA anyway, so I'm a bit of a native. I know, but I gotta live there. It's like for the work, for the job. So, but this is a great place. I've actually got some friends who live down not that far away from here. Okay. So I actually do have friends here.
Okay.
As well. So I've been in this area before.
Okay.
Once.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on your success and your premiere. Have a good night.
So that's our show for today. I'd like to thank the cast and crew of Honeyglue for coming to visit with us. I'd also like to thank Visit Newport Beach for sponsoring the show. Please check back often because we do have videos updated every day. This has been another episode of Festival Forum. My name is Lamar. We'll see you soon.